Good morning. Thank you for the kind introduction, and I'm privileged to be here today. My topic, I hope I'm not triggering other people here about the failures because it can be triggering for IMGs, and I just want to share my journey of where I was 20 years ago to where I am now. So last month, I posted this on my social media. And why would I post my failures? Why would I want to share my museum failures? Because I failed more times than I can count. I failed my medical board exam in the Philippines. I failed my IELTS English exam 3 times. And I also failed my radiology Franza specialist exam. So I felt that I was a failure in medical professional life, in business, in personal life, and as a mother. So every single failure became a turning point when I applied the 3 steps of self-leadership. But before we go there, I just want to show you the journey of my Museum of Failure. So when I came here 20 years ago, that's January 2005, I arrived here. I was here for 1 year fellowship training in interventional radiology. The plan was for me to go back to the Philippines and be the first female interventional radiologist in the Philippines. But in March 2005, I met someone. We fell in love, we got engaged in June, we got married in November, and then I was stuck at knowing that I have to do all over again. Maybe I need to do AMC 1 and 2, or maybe I need to do specialist pathway. I was feeling lost because I don't know anyone and I don't know what to do. But I chose the road less traveled. I don't know anyone who's done the radiology pathway or the specialist pathway. So I did that. I applied for specialist training, but I was told that I have to do 18 months of upskilling. I was shattered because I already did my 4-year radiology training in the Philippines. I'm already a board certified radiologist in the Philippines. Why do I want to upskill? Why do I want 18 more months? But I said to myself, no, I'm going to do this. I am going to be a radiologist, whatever it takes, how long it takes. I'm going to be radiologist here in Australia. So that's what I did. I did not mind the 18 months of skilling. After my 18 months, which became 4 years, I applied for the exams and I failed the first take. I failed the second take. And I also failed the third take. Some people would say after 3 exam failures, stop, regroup, do something else. But I did not let this failure define me. I let this failure fuel me. And I used it and leveraged it. And so I did not let it define me. So even though I was a new mom, struggling with a newborn, breastfeeding while studying, doing on-calls, doing public holiday on-calls, weekend on-calls, juggling as a mother, and working full-time, studying after 5, studying until 12, or even staying in the library. I even told myself, I'm just going to forget motherhood and just focus on this radiology exam. But on my 4th take, it was a pivotal moment because I already knew that, okay, after passing this, I've passed it. I'm so happy. I also had a gift of my 2nd child. So I said, wow, this is also worth it. So I'm now sharing you my Museum of Failures and what are my key takeaways and what I learned from these failures. So I've used the DRV framework, which is, you can say, Dr. V. D for director, R for reinvention, and V for victory. And let's unpack this. So I initially told everyone, to all the newcomers, that I initially failed my Philippine board exam, and I did not let it define me. Although in an Asian culture, failure is so stigmatized and it's so demoralizing, and I felt that I embarrassed my family, I embarrassed my relatives, I embarrassed my mom and my whole family. But I did not let it stop me from my dream of becoming a doctor. So I studied and studied harder, and I've passed, and I'm so grateful. My lesson there, I am the director of my life. I am the architect of my life. I own my story. I know what I want to do with my life, and that's what I'm gonna do. I also failed my English exams before coming here in Australia 20 years ago. Not only once, but 3 times. First, I failed the the speaking part. It was so embarrassing because in the Philippines, we were taught in English, right? So why would I even fail the speaking component? Because I was black. The whole speaking component, I could not say anything, and I was digging myself to the ground. I said, oh my God, you're a doctor and you cannot speak. It was so embarrassing. And I said, oh my God, I failed this English. My Australian dream is gone. But I did not let that happen. I sat again, failed again, this time the writing. Oh my goodness, why would I even fail the writing component? As a doctor, again, I felt demoralized, but I said, no, my dream is gonna be Australia. I'm going. I'm gonna do it again. And I failed the 3rd time, and the 4th time, I passed. And I'm so happy that I did. And so, I did not let that embarrassment, humiliation define me. And I also told you about my radiology exam. Every failure, every small wins, whether big or small, passing the part 1 exam, part 2 exam, passing one component, passing the OSCE exam, I celebrate it all the time. And I celebrate me. I did not let anyone, any validation, outside validation, I celebrated me and celebrated everything from reaching out, of reinventing myself as well, of trying to become that person from where I was so proactive and so, introverted, to someone who is my own advocate. So I also had a lot of museum of failures, but I did not let define me. So also burn out physically, mentally. I'm sure a lot of IMGs would relate. If you're working in public hospital or in private practice, even as a consultant, I'm not immune to burnout. So I already said that. I'm also a business owner now. I've taken over a business in Western Australia, and for 11 years I also have some failures, but I use this as my stepping stone to success. So where I was 20 years ago, or even 30 years ago, I'm now a practicing radiologist in Western Australia since 2011 when I qualified. Business owner of 2 imaging centers. Speaking right now, I'm super proud. I'm celebrating this victory. And thank you. Also, adjunct lecturer in 3 universities in Western Australia. Author of 4 books. Imagine, I cannot write before. Now I'm writing my memoir. That's my 5th project. And I also mentor IMGs, sharing my self-leadership framework to them. And yeah, So I'm very privileged to be here today to be sharing what I've learned from my failures and how I embraced it and how I used it as my stepping stone. And so, why? Because of my family. So remember 20 years ago, I met someone, and then now my son, 18 years old, first year uni, and my 14-year-old, year 9. So they are my why. I cannot post their now photos because I have no permission. So, in closing, take charge of your story. Grow 1% every day, personally, professionally, or as a mother or as a wife. Celebrate that growth because, and you also need to, celebrate your growth, and this is for you to rise stronger. And so this is my framework, and this is a free of my chapter of my Women Leading the Way chapter of my 9-step self-leadership framework. Feel free to download it, and I'm excited to share you a chapter of my story. So yeah, thank you.